There's a hidden NPC that you can interact with in Soleanna. He is a pigeon named Hatsun. If you interact with Hatsun, they coo. That's it. Kinda weird that we have talking hedgehogs, foxes, and echidnas, but non-talking pigeons in this game. With Shadow, you can glitch into Soleanna New City and see an early version of this hub area that is not normally accessible. You have to clip through the blocked entrance by pausing as you jump into this wall here. Once you clip through, just homing attack towards the loading zone. This early version is quite interesting as there are cars driving around that are not programmed properly at all. They'll pretty much all just be driving into walls, other objects, and even people. If you wait around long enough, they'll form massive traffic jams. Some of the NPCs are even strong enough to actually flip over the cars. Also, if you talk to the people here, you'll see that many of them are not named properly, as there are many middle-aged men that are called women by the game. There's also a town mission here that is not accessible anywhere else in the game. Very strange all this stuff is still technically accessible, even though it is clearly unfinished and not meant to be seen by the player. I completed the town mission, but it didn't actually properly finish until I died by jumping in the water. Then it decided I'd finally done what was required for the mission and gave me an S rank.
Perfect.
Also, you normally have to beat a bunch of town missions as silver to see Hatsun, but he actually loads into this area here. There's even an old man who goes by Hatsun and coos too for some reason. Despite Hatsun not having actual lines in the final game, within the files of the Xbox Live Arcade demo for Sonic 06, there are some unused dialogue files for Hatsun. They have actual lines, and they even address the weirdness of talking to a pigeon and how it might get you locked in a room with soft walls. Hatsun even tells you to leave them alone, as the other pigeons will get suspicious if you keep talking to them. Using a similar glitch to the one I showed for New City, you can access the Soleanna Forest early as Sonic. At the start of Sonic's story, you have to glitch out of bounds instead of going to Wave Ocean. By doing a tricky jump like this around the invisible barrier, you can access the rest of Soleanna much earlier than you were supposed to. From here, run over to the entrance to the forest, where you can clip through the first door by going through the wall on the side here, and can go past the second one with the well-placed spin dash. Once you're in the forest, you can see that there are some test objects that were left here by the developers. Pretty much nothing else is loaded in here, showing that the developers never intended the player to access these areas. If you try this yourself, do not make the same mistake I did. I decided to save my game in this area and effectively soft-locked my file, as the loading zones out of here are not actually loaded in, and there's no way to get a game over, as deaths in the hub area do not lose you a life. I guess these stop signs were put here to remind me how my file is now soft-locked. Nice one, SEGA. Sonic 06 makes an appearance in Season 4, Episode 11 of Breaking Bad. Yeah, Breaking Bad, the show with Walter White, I'm not kidding. Jesse Pinkman and his girlfriend's son, Brock, are playing 2-player mode on Wave Ocean. They even show the gameplay on screen, which is not super common for TV shows, making it very likely that SEGA paid for this product placement, as Jesse and Brock seem to be having a bit too much fun playing Sonic 06. Either it's product placement or the show creators really enjoyed Sonic 06 and wanted it in their show, which doesn't seem too likely. In the cutscene where Eggman sends Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles to the future, there's a slight error with Eggman's voice lines. Right before he pushes the button to start the machine, you can see his lips wiggling around as if he is laughing, but nothing is heard. If you switch over to the Japanese voice lines, you can hear Eggman laughing at this exact moment. For some reason, the laughing was not properly added to the English version of the game, but they still kept in his mouth animation. In New City, you can find an old man near the harbor who refers to himself as an old woman in his dialogue, despite his name in-game being Old Man. It's possible SEGA was just being really inclusive here, but this is much more likely an oversight from the developers. This one is a bit different from the ones I mentioned earlier, because this old man is in a regular area, unlike the other wrongly named men, who were in a normally inaccessible area. In this cutscene right after Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles get sent to the future, you can see them walking through a ruined hallway. As the cutscene plays, Knuckles' model Ragdoll is slightly off screen. I guess he is not taking being transported to the future very well at all, as he falls and faceplants off the floor. If you're playing Sonic 06 on a PlayStation 3, you can do something a little crazy. After loading up the game, you can straight up take out the disc and the game will still run. They did not program any kind of message for when the disc gets taken out. The music will stop and the game will likely crash eventually, but it will still work for at least a little while. Right before Shadow's Wave Ocean stage, there's a voice line blooper that was accidentally left in the game.
Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to the Wave Ocean, head to Wave Ocean. Agent Shadow, E123 Omega has engaged Mephiles. Head to Wave Ocean immediately.
It is not normally possible for you to finish a level with Knuckles, but regardless, they added an end-of-level animation for him, and he even has voice lines that react to whatever rank you got for the stage.
Well, that wasn't too bad.
You can see these yourself by using glitches to flip out of bounds and access these areas with Knuckles when you would normally be here with Sonic instead.
Thank you, Knuckles.
Princess Elise was originally named Olga before she became Elise. We know this because of a leaked early version of the script that has her named Princess Olga instead of Princess Elise. The name was a reference to a famous Russian singer named Olga, but was changed because someone from SEGA America thought that the West interpreted Russian women as being sturdy and harsh, and that was not the personality they wanted Elise to have. Shiro Makawa was the one who picked the name Olga and has publicly complained on Twitter about the forced name change. Around the time Sonic 06 released, there was a promotional bus ad that was paid for by SEGA to help advertise the game. It features SEGA logos and a picture of Sonic from the game. Originally there was going to be both a Wii and Windows port for Sonic 06. Both got scrapped due to time constraints, but the PC version of Sonic Riders has an advertisement for Sonic 06 in the game's manual that clearly shows the PC logo alongside the Xbox 360 logo. Oddly enough, the PlayStation 3 logo is nowhere to be seen. The Wii was eventually given its own proper standalone release that more properly utilized the Wii remote, which ended up being Sonic and the Secret Rings. In Tropical Jungle, there is a voice line that plays which has Elise explain to Sonic how to jump off the vines. The developers accidentally used an old voice line from the original Princess Elise voice actress and not the proper line from Lacey Chabert, the actual voice actor for Elise.
If you jump when the bud is glowing, you may be able to jump higher.
The proper line exists in the game's files, but they used the old one by accident.
If you jump when the bud is glowing, you may be able to jump higher.
If you jump when the bud is glowing, you may be able to jump higher.
Lacey Chabert replaced the original voice actor relatively late in the game's development, which is why this line was likely missed. If you homing attack the adult male NPCs, most of them will let out a scream just like the kids do, rather than the adult grunt that they're supposed to make. Some of them make the correct sound, but a lot of them sound like kids instead. Most NPCs just flinch when they get hit, but some of them have their own unique animations for when you homing attack them. In the Silver boss fight, it is possible for Silver to knock you out of bounds. When I first did this, Silver also managed to glitch himself out of bounds and drowned in the water. He respawns in the arena thankfully, but once you're out of bounds, you can do something really cool. If you get grabbed by Silver while out of bounds and high in the air, you'll go flying into the sky. The boss arena normally has an invisible ceiling that you would hit to stop Sonic, but that ceiling does not exist out of bounds, so you can continue to fly upwards. Within the game's files, there's unused text that suggests at some point there would have been some additional mission types that did not end up making it into the final game. One of these mission types is a mission involving finding multiple lost Chao, just like in Sonic Adventure 2. There's also unused text for a Metal Sonic episode alongside the playable side characters, despite him never making an appearance in the final game. The snowboarding section in White Acropolis has some extremely glitchy physics. If you turn backwards and decide to go uphill instead of downhill, you'll move just as fast as you do going downhill, despite this being against the laws of physics. There's an unused animation and graphic for the game's multiplayer mode that features results for 4 different players. This is notable because the final game only allows for 2-player multiplayer and not 4-player, despite it being clearly planned at some point in development. In the New City Hub area, you can find this boy and girl NPC couple. The boy wants to run off and save Princess Elise, but his girlfriend won't let him and makes him choose between the princess and her. Eventually, he wonders if this is what marriage is like, and the girl starts to question if she is too clingy. Not sure why dialogue like this is in a Sonic game, but it's here if you want to go look for it. In the cutscene where Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles get transported back to Soleanna, you can see Sonic reading a newspaper. This newspaper's title is misspelled as it says Daily Soriana instead of Daily Soleanna. There's a pretty interesting glitch you can do with Blaze in Wave Ocean. If you go to the top of the lighthouse, run against this wall and press X, you'll blast off into the sky and lose a life. You can do this at multiple points throughout the stage. A lot of the curved walls will let you do this. The automated loop sections are also pretty buggy if you try to do a spin attack while on them. In Soleanna, there's a fairly well-known NPC named Sonic Man, who wears a blue mask and rings to try and resemble Sonic. He even has a shirt that has the logo from the first Sonic the Hedgehog game. When talking to him, he specifically mentions how he saves Princess Elise and girls who are in trouble. Sorry boys, he is only here to help out the ladies.
Hey.
He then gives you a quest to race him, and he is pretty fast since he knows how to run with proper form. In Shadow's Kingdom Valley stage, it is possible for there to be two Shadows. At this point early in the stage, when you're supposed to switch to Rouge, instead go around her and clip through this door here using the pausing trick we used to get into New City early. You want to jump and immediately pause. If done correctly, you want a homing attack after unpausing and you'll clip through the door. Once here, you can now see that there are two Shadows, as the game normally expects you to be Rouge here and not Shadow. If you walk close enough to the second Shadow, you'll become the second Shadow, and the Shadow you were just controlling will disappear. The game's manual says that Tails' flight was supposed to use a gauge on the screen to determine how long he can fly, but there is no meter present for Tails in the final game. His flight still does have an internal timer, but there's no meter like there is for some of the other characters. The game's manual also shows that there's supposed to be a shield power-up available from item boxes, but it never appears anywhere in the final game. The shield power-up does exist in the game's files, but was just never added to the final game. There's even an icon and sound effect for it. There's also mention of chaos drives in the game's manual, and even a picture of them, despite them never actually making a return from Sonic Adventure 2. It is kind of crazy how many details are present in the manual, but not the final game. They really must have cut a lot at the very last minute. If you've played through Sonic 06, then you likely know about Sonic's gem power-ups being glitched. Using any of their power-ups is supposed to lower Sonic's gauge here, but nothing ever happens in-game. This glitch was caused by a simple typo within the game's code. By changing this string to this one in the game's code, you can fix this issue and all of the gems and the gauge will work as intended. For Silver, there's an unused and unfinished upgrade that was supposed to be available in the shop called Speed Up. As the name implies, this would have increased Silver's speed, but it was never added in the final game, despite Silver's normally very slow running speed. Another unused upgrade is the Rainbow Gem. This gem is quite unique compared to the others, as it is the only gem in the game's files that was not added to the game. There's still a reference to it in the game's files for the shop, which has the item description saying question mark, question mark, question mark. You'll need to buy it to see what it does. There's some other text within the game's files that refers to a gem that would have allowed Sonic to become super in stages, but it's not clear whether this would have been the Rainbow Gem or something else. This Super Gem was never fully finished, but with hacking you can enable it to see the supersonic animation, but Sonic won't actually properly transform. Many of the game's NPCs look identical and share the exact same models, despite the game often considering them different people with different names. In the Leaving the Sceptre of Darkness cutscene in Shadow's story, we see Silver jump through the portal while holding a blue Chaos Emerald in his hand. This is a bit problematic as the story requires Silver to leave the emerald alongside young Elise, as it has her lucky charm throughout the story. But in this cutscene, they accidentally left it with Silver, even though Elise is supposed to have it at this point in time. If you play Silver's story, you can see in his version of the cutscene that he leaves the emerald with Elise before jumping in the portal, unlike Shadow's story, where he just leaves with it and ignores Elise. This blue emerald actually has other issues too, as it is stuck in a paradox. It starts off the game with Elise when she is young, and she eventually gives it to Sonic. who later loses it to Eggman before it is eventually found by Silver after defeating the Egg Genesis. Silver then travels back in time and gives it back to Elise again, leaving the emerald stuck in this temporal paradox which it cannot get out of. This also brings up the issue of where the emerald even came from in the first place and how it even got into this loop. But honestly, this is a bit confusing for me, so I'm not even going to try and deep dive this one. The developers made a bit of a mess with this plot. In Soleanna, you can find two interesting NPCs named Emma and Moldi. Emma starts off by telling you that she feels like she's being watched, and it is creepy. Turns out Moldi has been watching her because he is in love with her, and says it's okay that he is watching her because he will always protect her. He wants to confess his feelings because Sonic has shown him that he can do anything. He finds out that she knows someone is watching her, but is still happy to follow her because he is protecting her. Eventually they properly meet and become friends. They both seem pretty happy and decide to wave their arms around lots. This is very likely a reference to the Burger Shop love story from the first Sonic Adventure game. I actually covered it in my useless Sonic Adventure facts video, so check that one out after this if you're interested. As Sonic, you can spam your leg kick on boxes to make them start flying in the air. I found it easiest to just mash the kick button rather than trying to time it properly. This is clearly not intended by the developers, but if you keep doing this, you can fly all the way above the level and even the skybox too. In the Egg Wyvern boss fight, you can use the sky gem to glitch out the boss fight. You have to jump, shoot your grapple, and then homing attack the Wyvern before your grapple properly shoots out. If done correctly, the camera will glitch, and after some waiting, the fight will end and you'll get a victory. I'm not too sure exactly how this works, but I think something with the grapple causes the Wyvern to fly out of bounds and despawn itself, giving you a victory. It is possible to stop midway on most loops in the game. If you run up and just stop running, Sonic will just stand upside down, defying gravity. You can also walk extremely slowly on them, which is kind of funny to look at. There was originally a day and night cycle planned for the game, but it was scrapped at some point in development. This feature was shown off during a demo presentation at TGS 2005, and actually looks pretty cool. Eventually this was repurposed in Sonic Unleashed, which is the next mainline 3D Sonic game. There is an unused voice line in Kingdom Valley that references past Sonic games.
Riding the wind brings back fond memories.
This line could potentially be a reference to Sonic Riders, as riding the wind is a big part of that game. This could also be referencing Windy Valley from the first Sonic Adventure game, as Sonic runs on wind in that level. The Sceptre of Darkness is accidentally referred to as the Book of Darkness by a gun soldier during this cutscene in Shadow's story.
Agent Rouge, report your status immediately. Have you retrieved the Book of Darkness?
This little mistake tells us that at some point in development, the Sceptre was probably a book rather than the Sceptre we see in the final game. They likely just didn't have time to re-record this voice line. Sonic 06 had a very hard mode DLC that was available not long after the game's initial release for players who wanted even more difficult levels than the hard mode levels that were already in the game. Within the game's files, there's unused text showing that the developers planned for there to be a super hard mode and an extra mode to go alongside the very hard DLC. A prototype of this super hard DLC was dumped in 2025, but the levels found in the prototype did not differ very much at all from the regular hard levels. In the cutscene where Mephiles explains to Silver and Blaze his plans to save their world, if you look behind Silver, you can see there is a SEGA logo on the poster behind him. In Crisis City, there are a couple of references to the Chao Garden from the Adventure series. You can find street signs that are heavily damaged that show directions to the garden. There's no actual Chao Garden in the game, but it is cool to see the Chao referenced here at least, even if it means their Chao Garden is likely destroyed like the rest of the city. Originally, there was planned for there to be a thief NPC in the game. The thief was never added to the final game, but there are still files within the game for this NPC. There's also an unused painter NPC in the game's files too. This guy actually has some dialogue left in the game's files, and even paints a picture of Sonic and Soleanna. You can use the Sky Gem in the new city area to clip inside the buildings. The tallest buildings have invisible walls that go up pretty high that you can grapple onto. From there you just fall onto the roofs of the buildings, and since they have no collision, you just clip right through and into the building. In the multiplayer mode, it is possible for Silver to use his Telekinesis to grab Sonic and Shadow, even if you're playing the cooperative mode. If you're playing the versus mode, then it's even more broken, since you can just freeze your rival in place while you finish the stage on your own. The song that plays during the 4th town mission in Soleanna has a reference to Mega Man 2, as one part of the song features the same melody from the NES classic. Within the game's files, there's an unused version of Silver's theme, Dreams of an Absolution. This unused version sounds pretty much the same as the final version, except the lyrics are swapped out with a digital keyboard instead. Let's have a listen. Thank you to everyone who suggested this game for my Useless Facts series. Honestly, recording gameplay for this video was a bit tough at points, but there was a lot of really interesting stuff that I learned while making this video. Turns out Sonic 06 is even more broken than I initially thought, made it perfect for Useless Facts. Let me know in the comments what game you'd like to see me cover next. I have covered games like Sonic Heroes, Sonic Adventure, Super Mario Sunshine, and Shadow the Hedgehog already, and I'm very open to covering some other games in the near future too. Thank you to everyone who clicked the like button or left a comment. It helps out the channel a lot. Shout out to all of the channel members and supporters. Without you, I would not be able to stream or create content regularly, so thank you so much for making all of this possible. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.